There's a valley in rural Appalachia where the children stopped crying, not because they were content, not because they were loved, but because their vocal cords had been twisted by something far darker than neglect. For over 200 years, one family bred only within itself, father to daughter, brother to sister, cousin to cousin, until the bloodline became so tangled that nature itself began to rebel. The children born into this silence couldn't scream when they were hungry, couldn't weep when they were hurt. They could only stare with pale, unblinking eyes that seemed to know they should never have existed at all. This is not folklore. This is not legend. This is what happens when isolation becomes a prison, and a family becomes its own graveyard. Hello everyone. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with where you're from and what time you're watching. That way, YouTube will keep showing you stories just like this one. The Whitaker family settled in the mountains of West Virginia in 1768, back when the frontier was still a savage, lawless place where families could disappear into the hollows and never be seen again. They came from England, fleeing debts and whispers of shame that followed them across the Atlantic like a curse they couldn't outrun. The first generation built a homestead in a valley so remote that even the nearest town was a 2-day ride through treacherous terrain. They told themselves they were seeking freedom. What they found was something far more sinister, a kind of freedom that allowed them to become their own isolated universe, accountable to no one, visible to no one, until the laws of man and nature ceased to apply. The patriarch, Thomas Whitaker, was a stern man, with a face like carved stone and eyes that never seemed to settle on anything for long. He brought with him 3 sons and 2 daughters, and when his wife died during the crossing, he told the children that they were all they had now, that the outside world was dangerous, that strangers carried disease and treachery, that trust could only exist within the bloodline. It was a philosophy that would echo through the generations like a curse spoken into a canyon, bouncing back louder and more distorted each time it returned. By 1790, the oldest son had married his sister, not in a church, and not with any formal ceremony, but in the quiet, unspoken way that things happened when there were no witnesses and no one to say it was wrong. The younger children grew up believing this was natural. They had never seen another family. They had never attended a school or a social gathering. The only faces they knew were the faces they saw every morning across the breakfast table, faces that grew